So as a reminder, I'm as a paladin or as a player, for the most part, I'm self-taught. I don't know the meta. I don't follow it. And if I knew it, then I would do everything to rail against it. Or sometimes I hear about it. You know, someone will be like, "Oh, dude, such and such build is like really good." I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna go in a totally different direction because, yay, someone figured that out. But I want to find like a different path because no one's really talking about it." And I'm like, wait a minute. I want to see what this is. I want to see what this is like, for better or worse. Often it's worse. I want to make that clear. But the fun is in, you know, going through these trees and finding something for you is a journey into itself. It is, in my opinion, it's just as much of a journey as it is to go through a dungeon for the first time or figure out how a raid works. Some folks don't give themselves that time for whatever reason they like, and they're not wrong for it. But some folks, they'll be like, okay, I'm just going to look at the guide. I'm going to follow the build from the top player. I'm going to look at the raid instructions or the dungeon instructions, follow the path, and then execute. And that's the game to me. That's a bajillion% fine. But what I don't want to hear is for people to like trash talk each other because someone wants to play the game a different way than someone else. So anyway, classes. I changed to prot spec. I'm gonna go at this from a protection perspective first, knowing that all this shit's gonna change next week because that's just how it goes. But there were quite a few changes, and so we're gonna go through it. Starting from the top. Okay, so I want Hammer of Wrath. Auras of Swift Vengeance has changed a little bit, where like Ret Aura changed when part of your raid members. So I thought I read something else, but it looks like when anyone takes 50% of their health and damage, which means you, or your co-tank or whoever, but it has to be in a single hit. It's not like, oh, you know your HP has been reduced. So it's when anyone gets busted by something. Someone takes an accidental melee hit, or usually a tank. You know, if they're taking a tank buster and they don't happen to pop a cooldown for it, and they happen to take, you know, more than half of their life, whatever. So this is something that they'll be able to get kind of regularly. For prot, well, I guess for paladins, it really depends on how many paladins there are in the raid. If there's only one devo or devotion, like straight up, that's not going to change. But then you have a couple more options, selfish options, but we'll stick to, you know, we'll stick to prot. Horse has changed. It's now a 5-second thing. Okay, so 5 seconds with that, and then I guess with this it makes it 7. So 7-second horse off the global cooldown as of this build, 2 charges. That helps. It helps with the responsiveness a little bit, but I look at this change, you know, it's a quality of life change more than anything. Because I'm used to popping things like Light of the Protector or aka Word of Glory on the global, so I kind of plan for that mentally in my head, and I'm okay there. Hey, Steinhelm. But it's still a very nice buff. Judgment has not changed. Rebuki has not changed. Blinding Light is what I usually go for. I don't know how to cleanse. I feel like I'm using more points up here because I don't have the speed thing here. I don't need horse. Like, this is 2 seconds, and that's too big of a thing to pass up anyway. Like, these feel super mandatory, but if I strategize correctly, I don't need the extra 2 seconds. But I'm probably gonna get it anyway. But yeah, I feel like I'm grabbing more stuff that I need, but you know, cleansing is important. Fist of Justice is way too good. I am gonna get the holy stuff. I'm a big sucker for self-healing. So Golden Path I'm gonna get. Seal of Mercy I'm going to get. Somewhere in here is Judgment of Light. No. I think that's somewhere else actually. Or I lost it. Venging Wrath I need, Sanctified Plates. This is a new one. I don't know if this is an actual buff or did they take away some of our survivability and then just put it into Sanctified Plates and like, yeah, here you go. I'm guessing that this is, you know, a small buff though. I'm getting Bop. Successfully interrupting an enemy with Rebuke Cast and extra Crusader Strike, which is tantamount to getting some Holy Power. Depending, so Mythic Plus, good. Raids, not so much, because at least in Mythic Plus, I'm more likely to get one. Well, the problem with talents like these or effects like these is that you got to be the one that does it. If someone else steals your interrupt, it's like, oh no, that's like some lost shit. Unfortunately, since this is on the class tree, I can't just be like, oh, what can't it be like any interrupt? Like, what if it's Avenger Shield? What if it's Vanish Shields or something like that? I would love for it to include that too. That would be really nice. It would really fit that whole fantasy of Paladin, caster, they're fucked. Or, you know, especially Prop Paladin, they got like no chance of casting almost. Judgment's damage is nice. I'll grab that for now, but I'll skip punishment because I think I'm like using too much stuff. The range increase. So the range increase, they took it off of you know, it was a choice node somewhere on live right now. Now it's something that we can opt to pick up. The fact that Crusader Strike can heal me for 2% of my maximum health though, that feels good. The range not so much, but the fact that it heals, it makes it, you know, and I'm a big slut for self-healing, so I'm gonna like hold on to that for now. And I only have one more point, so what am I missing? Let's see. I have to pick up either After Image or I don't even have Bosac. I'm the only one that calls it Bosac, sorry, but okay, so so I gotta force myself to either not pick stuff up. I'll have to shave stuff down or I'll like figure it out. So let's pick up Bosac because I want that. Unbreakable Spirit, I want DP, Hala. Yeah, I want Judgment of Light got a nice buff. It's a very nice buff for. It's a slight nerf to raid content. So what it does now, it does I think like 5 times as much healing. Like so original Judgment of Light, it had 25 charges. That's been knocked down to 5 charges, which at first is like, oh, that's dumb. But now it heals for like 5 times as much. So the math kind of moved over. Great for solo content, great for group content because you're going to actually use all of the heals and it's going to effectively go out. In raids, it's still going to be a drop in the bucket, but it's going to feel like a little bit more impactful, especially if it crits. It's like, okay, 4K a hit, that's not bad. That'll go to like other. Basically, every time I throw a judgment, I am most definitely going to get, 10,000 healing going somewhere, and I'm chucking that shit like as if I had 4 hands and all that. What's really cool, preview, is that for Ret, Judgment of Light will work even if you're throwing like up to 5 hammers. So it'll apply 5 Judgment of Light buffs, which can be potentially like huge passive raid healing. I'm going to be very curious to see how that ultimately works out, if it does work out. I don't know, but no, to me this is like a big win. I want Divine Toll, I want Resonance. Dusk and Dawn changed a lot too. So now, whenever I use 3 generators, Crusader Strike, Judgment, or Hammer of Wrath or whatever, once I use 3 of them, I just gain Dawn. I don't need to get to like 5 Holy Power. I just use 3 generators, and so I get this, where my next spender is going to do more stuff, and apparently it stacks. Now that's something I'm not going to take advantage of, because once I have enough stuff, I'm going to spend, because that's like the law. And then they followed it up with some enhancements for Dusk and Dawn, like Seal of Order, which we already know. I don't think this had changed. It just makes like the stuff like a little bit better. Here's a interesting one, especially for not as interesting for Prot, but for Ret, this one is kind of neat. So with this one, Fading Light, Blessing of Dawn increases the damage and healing of your next holy power spending, so it makes it better, whatever. Blessing of Dusk, though, it causes your holy power generators. So for Ret, it's Crusader Strike, Judgment, stuff that I forgot, whatever. It also grants an Absorb Shield for 20% of damage or healing dealt. Now, if I'm throwing like up to 5 hammers, or if I'm hitting up to 5 targets with Crusader Strike, that's quite a bit of bubble healing that you create for yourself. Now, in PvP, this ain't gonna be shit, really. That's not much, unless, you know, unless the judgment from damage, the damage from judgment is like really that great. But that's not gonna be like hugely impactful. Like anyone who would be going for that would probably go for Seal of Order instead, so that way they could just throw more judgments like a little bit faster. But I know it's been like a big concern that especially Ret, they have to when they choose between survivability and damage, they'll often go for damage because but they have to really go away from that survivability, and that's been a concern for Paladins, that they're either not doing enough damage or they're just getting dropped, or well, both in a lot of cases. But I'm gonna pick up Fading Light because that just sounds more fun to me. Let's see. Alacrity does not work right now, but I want to pick that up because I'll just have more judgments. Faster judgments is always better. More judgments means more holy power, means everything is fine. Zealot's Paragon, I'm not going to go for it because I need to pick up Steel of the Crusader, which is basically just more melee damage. Like, on average, I happen to do like 6k per white hit. Yeah, 6k per white hit, and this will add another 2k. So this is basically another 25 to 30% melee damage, which is woo. These two selections always sucked. They continue to suck. So I'm gonna pick up Faith's Armor because I will use Shield of the Righteous a lot, and this is the initial build. There are probably things that I could shave off here. Like I could probably get away with not having Swift Vengeance. So if I take that out, okay, I do have a free point to use somewhere. I would probably want Seal of Might because that's gonna give me like the biggest bang for my buck. And if I really wanted to, I would take out Resonance so I can get like the extra 2% again. And I could probably I think I could shave off one more thing. But I don't want to. If I do, I think I'll like totally like fuck things up. Because the thing is, I don't even have Blessing of Freedom. Ew. That doesn't feel right. So maybe I will take out Cleanse, and I'll get Blessing of Freedom instead. Healers will love me. But I'll just need to make sure that this is like one of those, situational, okay, I'll definitely pick it up. And I do feel like I have the room to pick it up if I need to. Actually, I do have both anyway. But so let's leave this alone for now. Let's look at the good. Let's look at the meat of stuff. Avenger Shield, Holy Shield, and I think these days I should pick up Redoubt. But I'll keep going with Inner Light just so I can have like the higher passive block chance. Blessed Hammer is dope. So I pretty much need all those. But what would I get here? AD I want. I'll hold off on Holy Shield. Let's see, okay, Grand Crusade I already have there, so I'll pick those up for now. Like I said, big slut for self-healing and shield stuff. So I'm going to pick up Bulwark. I'm going to pick up Tears Enforcer. What's this one? Lay on Hands cooldown is reduced by 1 second per holy power spent. Nah, not good enough. Consecration is whatever. Nah, I'm leaving that alone. Blessed Hammer deals more damage. Nah, I'm good. I mean, it's it would be. This is nice for heavy AoE situations. I mean, Blessed Hammer does deal a lot of damage. Don't get me wrong. I can skip either of these. I do like that. Like in an earlier build, Spell Warding was like all the way at the bottom. It was very awkward. I like that they reverted it and went back to this. Sentinel, I'm picking that up. I'll hold off on the haste because my haste is pretty high. I'd love to have more, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna pick up Kings. Don't need that one. I guess I'll come at this from a Mythic Plus perspective first. So let's pick up that. Let's pick up the Consecration. I want the parry thing because the parry thing is like fucking good. Double Judge, want that. In Mythic Plus, I do help heal. Ain't no shame in that. Here's a new one though. Seal of Charity. When you cast Word of Glory on someone other than yourself, you heal yourself for 50% of the amount healed. That's nice, man. Because there's going to be a lot of times where, you know, like oftentimes, and what I do as a paladin, like I'll off heal. If I see someone at low health, I have to make a snap decision. Am I going to heal myself or am I going to heal the other person? And then I make a decision. With this, I can optionally do, I can put much more focus on healing other people, knowing that half of it is going to go to me. Now, it's important to note that at least the tooltip says it also heals myself for 50% of the amount healed. So if I'm healing someone at full health, I'm probably not going to get that benefit. But on the other hand, if there's like huge raid-wide damage going out and I see myself at half health and I see someone at like 10% health and I'm not doing anything, or you know, I have my globals are available, I'm going to pop it on them and I'm going to, you know, get myself like a very nice heal. So this is going to be like a really big overall increase in healing for me. But I do need to pick up Hand of the Protector, so that way they get, you know, they get like the maximum heals. Because I'm only, for the most part, I'm just going to be focusing on people who are at low health. Woo. Depending on the situation, see, now it feels like I need to get one or the other, because Focus Enmity has changed to where if Avenger Shield strikes a single enemy, then it deals more holy damage. So at the moment, Focused Enmity only hits one target, and it deals 100%, and it hits twice as hard, which is like nice. But oftentimes, especially in things like, you know, Mythic Plus or raids, sometimes there are ads, sometimes there aren't, and so lacking that. You know, when faced with that situation, Enmity sucks because you want to be able to adapt to both situations, even if you're using like Fan of Shields. So I would be tempted to pick this up, and you know, in fact, I will. I'll pick that up as like a default thing. Eye of Tyr got a really big buff in that, you know, it did get kind of a damage buff, but it also has this new talent that makes it 3 times as strong, and it reduces the cooldown. So this was going to be really hard to pass up. 45 seconds, and you have a 25% bit of damage reduction. That's hard to resist. That creates an even tighter or an even more complete like mitigation phase that a paladin can have. 9 seconds is a pretty long time. 25% is fairly significant. It makes me it definitely makes me not worry too much about picking up this Improve Ardent Defender unless, you know, I would go for Spell Warding instead, because there might be something important that I would want to have covered. Final Stand is very accessible, which a lot of folks, especially in the Mythic Plus world, want to have. Getting 1 point in gift is very important too, and I think the team needs to look at this, because most paladins that I've observed, because remember, I do a little bit of you know, some people will tell me these things. What's the meta? Only having 1 point in here is all we need. I don't think very many paladins that have the opportunity to pick this up put more than 1 point into it, because you don't need to. You know, like, for the most part, we don't care too much about having Guardian having that big of a cooldown reduction. We just care about the passive. So I think the team ought to look at that and be like, okay, so here's what players are you know, here's what this talent is, but here's what players are actually doing. Maybe we should consider this passive and how I feel about it. Because there's a lot of, yeah, this is the Paladin version, and other tanks, they have their own versions of it, where if they're brought to low health, something happens. Like Death Knights get a thing. I think all the tanks get a thing whenever they're at low health, and so this is the Paladin version. But we really don't need. I think we're the only one that needs 2 points for it, but we just don't. Bulwark is very accessible too. That's another very big thing for Mythic Plus to get that damage out. Usually, I don't really care too much about this. But the fact that it's so accessible with some of the other stuff, like Final Stand and all that stuff, it makes it very nice. The difficulty right now is trying to get to Righteous Protector, because this gives me the faster cooldown on my Sentinel or Avenging Wrath or whatever. So in this case, it's like, okay, well, what am I going to pass up on? Because I need like a couple of points to get there. So this would make me consider dropping like a couple of things, but I think this will like mess up my points. So if I take out Blessed Hammer stuff, it's a little bit of damage that I lose. I'll pick up Sanctified Wrath, boom, boom, and I'm missing. So, and I'm missing a thing. So if I can skimp out on one more thing, if I could take out Enmity and pick up Righteous Protector, that would be acceptable. That wouldn't be so bad. So something like this would be fairly close to what I'd pick up for Mythic Plus. I have the extra Holy Power and Judgments. Eye of Tyr is just really, really strong. I know that there are things that I'm missing out on, like there's a lot of passive defense that I'll lose out on Improve Holy Shield. I lose a little bit of damage with the Blessed Hammer stuff, but Eye of Tyr is just gonna nuke dudes. So I'm gonna run in. I'm gonna throw shields, and maybe I'll consider changing this to Quicken Invocation, so that way Divine Toll is now on a 45-second cooldown. Eye of Tears on a 45-second cooldown. So I'll be able to have is good. This feels cool. There are other things that I'm missing though. Like I'm missing a little bit of block here, and that's significant. I think there might have been some. Yeah, here we go. Word of Glory grants you additional block for 5 seconds. This is something that this is for Mythic Plus though. I would rather have the additional parry and invest into that than the block. Because for the most part, I'm going to be spending my Holy Power just slamming enemies, fucking them up, going in that direction. So this would be close to the Mythic Plus sort of thing. When it comes to raiding, though, it's going to be mostly different. But it's going to depend on the encounter. So for raids, I'm not going to have Final Stand. I'm probably not going to have Bulwark. I'll have Enmity though, because I want to have that bit more of a steady sustain. I'm gonna try to keep Righteous Protector. I would consider not having Eye of Tyr actually, but that would be the easiest way to go if I want Bulwark. But you know what? I wouldn't have Bulwark either. Bulwark's not a huge deal, but Righteous Protector huge. This damage is nice. but I would be taking it for the reduced cooldown. But let's try not having it, because 1 minute's pretty good. 1 minute cooldown is pretty good. I'll consider the hastes. I will consider getting like I'll consider getting the extra block. Yeah, so that block is cool. I don't need the parry. I don't need the conk. Conk. So I would get 2 points. Oh, yeah, I would get 2 points here, and then that way I can still get double judge. And so this would be close. Not exactly, but close to what I would do for raids. Something like that. A little bit more damage, so I can get more bubbles. I would switch this to either, it depends on the fight. But I would default to resonance, so that way I can get like a little bit more bubble stuff. That's what's going to give me like the passive stuff. I'm gonna be using my Word of Glory to heal somebody. It's gonna be used on somebody. And these days I have enough haste that I can pretty easily maintain my my Shield of the Righteous buff. So I'm gonna be spending some time healing, and then I'll have like a shitload of blocks. So let me see what my block is like right now. So my block is at 45% doing nothing. Yeah, so 45% I'm not doing anything, but as soon as I start like doing stuff, 75%, 85%, so not quite 100. I think if my inner light kicks in, then it goes up by a little bit more again. The weird thing is going to be that I'm using a lot more Word of Glory, but that's sort of like an emergency thing too. But yeah, as long as I'm like still like slamming stuff, then I'm okay. I just need like, as usual, more haste, man, more haste. So like there you go, 95%. I forgot what kicks up what made that 95%, but I just need more mastery, really. More mastery. So I can get more block, and that's kind of it. It's not bad.